Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news out of Hollywood. We just recently covered the IATSE crew strike that is on the horizon coming up in May. We covered a lot of Hollywood topics in the recent month. We've been on the picket lines for the recent actor strike and the Writers Guild strike. And it seems like Hollywood is not coming to a rest. There are many fire, places lighting up, and it kind of, deems the question. We have so much money coming into this business, and more jobs get cut. We have to scream always louder for fairer wages, for better payment, for better recompensation. And while these companies make billions, the workers, the staff, the actors, the performers, right? We have to suffer. And it started, of course, with the so-called C virus, and then it went on with the introduction of AI into our business. So the business becoming more and more problematic, as if all this as a scenario wouldn't be enough. Like my guest today will explain, we have another topic coming up that is getting increasingly problematic for us actors and performers, musical performers, commercial actors, all these beautiful people that need to be found, right, by producers, by casting directors, by directors that need to be seen, that need to be acknowledged, that need to be recognized. So in order to do that, in order to upload our material, our portfolio, our headshots, and our self-tapes that are our lifeline to the actual Hollywood business model, to entertainment industry, to show business, in order to do that, now we have to pay more and more money, right? And so alone for casting networks, if we're talking about like a double premium representation, talking about the agent and the actor as well, if we want to upload constantly material, we have to kind of face bills in excess of $500 a year. And mind you, this is only one platform. I feel we need to answer this. We need to stop this. We need to come together as a community and think about a more healthy and revolutionary way of getting access to the business. So I want to thank the chat being present today, because this is a super important topic. Also to the creative community on Instagram and Facebook. Welcome everybody to the COACHMC studio. This is the place where we'll help you actors, performers, entertainers, creative, beautiful, crazy heads to find your behavior delivery, to find intriguing and compelling and remarkable ways of performing in front of the camera, on stage, on a canvas, in front of the casting directors, wherever those auditions may take place. This is the place where we kind of, share those important tools in order to uplift your content to the next level, to that performance that we call the summit point, right? The peak performance that we're all looking for in order to get booked, in order to get jobs, in order to get recognized. And today on the show, I couldn't be more proud and more honored and more privileged to have such an important, beautiful friend and a great guest, and also like an incredible, sparkling, creative mind, being an actor that just recently is, you might catch him still in theaters in the latest, Oscar super streak winner, Oppenheimer, in the latest movie as General Marshall. So welcome on the show, Will Roberts, discussing the state of mind for us actors and performers. Welcome, my man. How are you, sir?
I'm good, brother. Good morning to you. Get ready, everybody. I think what you need to do is you need to have a pad and paper. I know that's a little old school, and some of you may be Googling right now what a pencil is, but I do recommend...
We love old school. We love...
the stuff that Coach gives you anyway, in general, is always extremely informational and needed. But more importantly, today's subject, which is basically our self-tapes, which I call the biggest and best tool in our toolbox as actors, is really now being compromised.
We're going to talk about this and way more beautiful and super interesting topics for all of us performers, not actors alone, for all of us performers, entertainers, because this is something that affects the whole industry. In our new talks on acting coming up. Well, I mean, you're coming from a very successful movie, one of the highest grossing movies. I just have the numbers here. Oppenheimer, you had a beautiful, super pivotal scene that you killed it, absolutely mastered it. I've rewatched the scene. I mean, I saw you before we actually talked because, of course, I was hyped about you being present in this feature, and afterwards a couple of times more just to kind of catch your charm, your incredible expression. So you could be happy about life. What are you complaining about? Just send in your tapes and just stay quiet and kind of serve the status quo. Now you got your entrance, you got your Oscar parties. You're a part of a flick that won several Oscars that night. So what are you complaining about, my friend?
Well, okay, so let's start from the beginning. First of all, now I know there's going to be some of the things that I will say that there will be casting directors or several out there that do a lot of Instagram, and agents might say, well, I don't know if that's totally true, Will. So I preface about to say and we'll talk about today in my own
Absolutely.
experience. And I'm always open to anybody else elaborating or correcting me. But I started back in the early '82. I started
Nice.
I got my SAG card, and ever since then I've been on the road to making sure that everything I do in my acting career keeps going up. And one of the things, as a guy not 25, I made very clear in my own career is that I did as many. What's up, Sean Brew? I did as many skills as I could to get where I'm at, but also behind the camera. Because one of the biggest things I've always said, and this, is that show business has the word business in it. Now, here's the thing that really irritates me the most. I'm prefacing all this, and then we'll get into that. Is that
absolutely, sir.
As a plumber, as a stockbroker, as a real estate person, you go out and you market these people and you say, I would like to be the person that is the person you pick. Well, in the acting industry, in my opinion, it is absolutely opposite. If you try to get a hold of a casting, if you try to get a hold of a director, if you try to get a hold of a production, they pretty much go, what are you doing? Don't you have a rep? Or they can get a hold of you. And the biggest problem we have in our industry is that you don't need a degree. And my good friend Kevin said this many times, you don't need to have a degree to become an actor. Matter of fact, I don't know, the lack thereof one might help you. And I am a great example. I didn't graduate high school. I went afterwards. I did a lot of education, but the point is that we've never really been able to market people. However, in the beginning, when I started, we went to auditions that were given to us by our agent, or if you found something, you try to get a way to get an audition. I understand the work.com and all the other places that you go if you want to list your CV or your rep as a business person or trying to get into a headhunter and so on, and you pay those. But what's happened now, back in the day in San Francisco, Bo Bonneau, and I think it's Gary, all these people created these platforms. And the problem is that now they're seeing, like the big executives that are going, our streaming isn't making us any money anymore. How do we make money? Because our stockholders are losing their money. What they've done, they've crushed the little guy. And I have to say, as an actor, we are the littlest guy and gal out there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like being on set. You know this, Coach. You're on set, the backgrounds get to eat last. And, they get to and don't talk to anybody or don't do, so you sit on set if you're, and you're in that lower echelon and you kind of go, well, I just hope I get a moment. Now, granted, anybody can do this industry. So we get a lot of people that go, oh, I just want to be on set. It'd be kind of fun. But there are people, and you and other performers that are professional and veteran actors that are now facing this issue with what Casting Networks has done. And I'll let you say something and then we'll say what that is.
No, absolutely. I just want to, before we start with the nitty gritty, which is absolutely fascinating and worth talking about. I feel like we're hitting a nerve here, and already comments are showing that. And it's something that it's been also on my mind for not now, for decades, I would say, because of course, we started back in the days, we're old school, sending in our material, and when those first cast forward, Italana, Spotlight, Windows first platform showed up, there was like a legitimate necessity for us to get access. And also there was like a great thought behind it that was absolutely coming from, I feel like in the beginning, like always, the original idea came from a good place. So let me play devil's advocate just for a second, just to have the fairness of the arguments here. So those casting platforms are argumenting, and they're arguing is like, all right, there are so many people, since this is not a regulated business, calling yourself an actor, there are so many people sending in their material, and we are overwhelmed with work. We would need like X amount of assistants and other workers just to kind of filter and examine the stuff that is mediocre and average, just to finally get to those, gold nuggets, to those performers that we actually want to see, the great performers that we could consider for an audition at least. And so it makes sense for us to kind of, ask something in order to get access to these platforms, because let's say the scam worker or the not so talented, actor, or the not even talent, like is this creative mind that is approaching me, that is applying for an audition, is this a consistent worker? Will he be here all the time? Can I rely on him or not? So being devil's advocate here for a second, don't you feel like that, let's not always swing from one extreme to the other. Let's say instead of $259, as far as my quick research is kind of giving me, like for one person and just for one account, they ask you for $259 a year. Like that is, I feel like a pretty steep amount. Can we find somewhere a balance, like a golden ratio? Hail to Hypnotic and to the crew, by the way. Thanks for stopping.
Let me ask you, let me say
Sure.
something. I don't want to sound at all, please, if I ever sound like I'm a conspiracy theorist or I'm trying to, down with the government in my statements, I'm not. But let's be real. Let's be realistic, okay?
Sure.
When
Go ahead.
Works or Actors Access or Casting Frontier or Backstage or all of the others created this, I got to be honest with you. Do you think they sat in a room and went, "Kumbaya, my lord"? I don't think. I'm going to tell you a fact that's going to blow your mind if you don't know this.
Sure.
I was consulted with a company that came to me, and I thought they were here in the States, and said, we would like you to help us, and we would like you, number one, to do educational content for our people.
Mm-hmm.
What's the business like? Set etiquette, I called it. Set etiquette. All the different things. You were around when I was doing this. And
yep, I remember.
And the company is called All Casting and Kids Casting. And I got to tell you something. I found out that, number one, they had like 7 offices, but none of them were in the United States. They're all in the Baltic regions. And what this is, let me give you some numbers. They had an average in kids casting, which, by the way, I call those momagers, which are mom managers, want their kids to be in the next diaper commercial, and or all that 17 or 18 and over. They had 18 to 20,000 people a month that were members that paid $10 to $15 a month to get auditions. Can I tell you, do you know how to do quick math? Can you tell me 1,000 times $10 is a month? That's if I'm not wrong, it's $150,000. And all they were doing is what we call audition scraping. So you want to work with Brad Pitt? Blah, blah, list yourself. And most of the people in those platforms really are not actors, because you'd see the profile pictures and they were like this. And there was no education. There was no understanding. My point in bringing this up is that they realized that this is, hey, I wish I was getting $150,000 a month. But here's the thing that's the problem. It's now so big and so inundated because of the internet. Because back in the day, maybe I'd audition for a national commercial and I'd go into my agent, into the casting director, and maybe there were 50 room. Now, you could be going after it with 2,500 to 5,000 people that are submitting. And guess what? You submit, you pay $25, $30 now a month, and you're one of 2,500. I mean, really, do you think the casting
Yeah.
director go through 2,500 things? The problem now for us is that we can't market, so all we do is we
Hmm.
pay in. And now the big thing with casting networks, which is why we're having this conversation, is I tried the other day to submit 2 auditions for commercials through my agent, and it went bonk. You don't have enough or space on the server, and I'm not really a member, so you have to buy more. And they say you can eliminate some stuff on your profile, but then I'm eliminating my demo tapes and my reels and my voiceover stuff. Point is that they're now making this extremely difficult, which then is another conversation about what it's doing for the agents and the casting directors who are waiting for your stuff. You're going to be late.
Right.
You have to
Not
send it.
only,
So they're going to get
yeah.
15, they're going to get 25, 35, 100 people having this, we transfer them. This is a total mess. And
It's a crack in the wall business, right? They started small, they got their crack in the wall, and they blew it up over time. And now they're sort of an in-between type of industry that works with these practices that, by the way, we covered on this channel. I believe like 5 or 6 years ago, we had a talk about exactly this, about how transparent is this whole thing. Because I don't mind, again, playing devil's advocate here. I don't mind if you tell me, you know what, in order to keep my costs, in order to make sure that the quality of a casting network is secured and safe, in order to, you know, give fast access to my clients, to my talents, to the industry, I need a little fee, which is, of course, you know, the thing is like, well, how much? But if you keep a network safe and you hire people to make that in order to ensure that type of communication, I might not even say no to that. But if you don't give me the transparency to understand how much you do upload, where does it really end? Can I see if it? Remember there was like this Stars network, and there was this what was the? It was auditioncasting.com, and back in the day you could see the process where the tape was in the beginning. That was a great thing, I believe. Like you could really see where's myself if I was viewed, how many times, 9 times, by whom, a production member, an assistant member of the director. You could like literally see the process, and therefore the money that I would invest would reflect in the service. Like we said 5 years ago, and we're doing now. This is basically the same money now with the inflation, right? It's absolutely nuts, and now we have to pay not only to be in the business, to look good, to keep updated, to shoot the headshots. Now we have to pay to get the access. And if you have a premium profile and then you cancel it, and then you want to upload the material from a premium profile, you need to re-access that premium. So you have to pay even though you paid for it already in the past. I mean, this is absolutely nuts.
yeah, you know, I understand everything you're saying, and as devil's advocate, as you're saying as a business model, 2 things. Number one is that don't get me wrong, because you know, as a magician or as a trick roper, or all the other skills I do as a clown, we have places where we can list ourselves,
Hmm.
and they would get leads, because you know, like, the thing is that they don't want to send them to the individual actor. And
Right.
we, as a performer, let's say I'm a clown or a magician, you know, back in the day, you might have a website, or you might be outbound marketing to people to get them to try to get a quote from you. But the fact now is
Hmm.
that realize, and it's smart, because look, I used to have a business where I rented mechanical bulls. I had a laptop and a phone that went to 7 people around the United States. I bought a lot of AdWords, and we would get leads, because all this really is a lead generator. But the problem
Absolutely.
but the problem with our industry is that we don't get to be able to market ourselves as actors, really, in the sense of traditional sort of marketing, because number one, the casting directors are not going to say, "Hey, you give us a call if you're interested," because they'd be inundated with a lot of people who are quite honestly beginners, or don't know the etiquette and the protocol to be able to submit. But the problem now with the industry, and what has happened is that because you can't approach these people, and they have become the conduit from actor to the project, and here's the casting director and agents. The problem now is that they're looking at this going, we want more money. I heard a statistic, just let me throw this out. It may not be
Sure.
right, that one or two of these services last year made $30 million. And you've got to think about this, because the average actor, the statistic I know is less than 1% union actors make a living a year in LA. All I'm saying is that it's like real estate people. We barely, well, I work a lot because I've got a lot of other things that I do, and I'm very,
Right.
marketing. I'm very guerrilla
Your
marketing.
tentacles, right? Yes, you are.
And by the way, if you think this is the only game in town that you're going to give your money and submit and that's it, you're going to go away, then you should work at Starbucks, because this is an entrepreneurial business. But now
Absolutely.
what's happening now is that the tools that we use, self-taping, getting them in, doing what we can, are now being moving into a place of pay per play, which, by the way, in the industry, and this is where I might be bumping into incorrect statements, but there's a statement there that's called payola. And there was
Hmm.
a Scott David back like 5-10 years ago that got in a lot of trouble because he was a casting director, because he was saying, yeah, you should take my classes. If you do, I'm going to get you an audition. That's the basic thing was happening. And that in the industry is called payola, which basically means pay.
Hmm.
And the problem now is that they're saying, here we are sitting in, I'm trying to go after a series or something, and you see these listings and you submit for them, but so does 25 to 4,500 other people, and you're paying them $25-$30 a month. And honestly, the tools that they're giving you, especially like I forgot, is it Actors Access? It costs you,
Yeah.
if you want to upload your demo reel. Let's say your demo reel happens to be 2.5 minutes long, which is too long, but if you happen to
Right.
have long, it is somewhere around $25 to $28 a minute to send that to at them digitally. It's not even,
Hmm.
my expression, it's not even a fucking bottle of water. It's not a physical thing. They're literally digitally sending it to
It's
them
just space. Yeah. Yeah.
and put it in your profile, and it will cost you over $100. And by the way, the next project you do, when you add it in your demo reel, you better wait if you do it, because otherwise you're going to pay it every single time you do a job, because you want to
And it's
update your.
And it's a freaking shame. I mean, both of us have been in this game for a long time now, and so we can tell the difference of income. Of course, it is adjusted to inflation and all that, and there is a government, and there is an industry that it's not. There is an economy that sometimes can go up and can go down. But look at what we've earned during the 80s or the 90s, and look what we earn now, and look what we have to give away in order just to survive, to be in this business, compared to what we had to do, what we used to do in the 80s and the 90s. So the cost of just being in the game has risen exponentially.
Yeah. And look, here's the thing. That's a very good point, in that, you know what, back in the 80s, if I would have, 90s, if I did a commercial like a national, I could walk away with 20, 40, 50,000 and more
Easily, yeah.
if I was doing a union commercial. Now, if you make $8,000, you're lucky. And here's the thing. The thing is that, again, corporate has realized that, why would I want to deal with the union stuff? I got to find a place.
Hmm.
Oh,
Sure.
for a movie, blah, 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 all this other shit. And the problem is that now, we get buyout, we get, rates of a day that are like $100. Unless you work literally every day, even if you did, you'd make $3,000 a month, and you'd have to pay taxes and blah, 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 blah. And then you're not figuring any of your other costs in there. And no one works every single day unless you're a series regular or whatever, and you're getting paid a lot more. Point I'm trying to make is that, it's literally there. That's why AI is so popular, and the whole casting, what was it? casting, whatever it is that does all of the background people. You in LA,
Right.
you get a meeting and they want to scan your body now and put you in background stuff, because the fact is that the corporate and the people creating these things literally just want to take and plug in a body. They don't give a shit in some of these cases whether or not you can act. They are looking for a person. That's why, one more thing, UGC. Do you know what UGC content is?
No, enlighten me, please.
I'm going to tell you. Everybody out there, this is something I did during COVID, because I always want to. I'm a hustler. I do what I can. I shoot, I edit, I do all of it.
You are a survivor. You're a survivor. That's what I love
Well,
about you.
Survivor sounds like someone's going to murder me at any moment, but I but UG content is something I became really good at, which is done with your phone, and it's called user generated content, which basically is the people going like this cell phone. Hey everybody, yeah. So yeah, I got this mortgage deal, right? And it's moving all around. It's real people content. And you'll see it now if you look on the casting notices for commercials all the time. And I told people this, say, 2 years ago. I was making $500 a pop to do a 20-second ad. And they were putting, the client that I had was putting $500,000 into ad runs on Facebook, TikTok, whatever, and they were making bank. And the bottom line is that now it's overrunning commercials, in my opinion. So my point is, the industry, from the people that we try to reach, the producers and the content creators that are big or whatever commercials, they don't want to pay the residuals. They don't want to pay you big money. They don't want to pay big buyouts. What they want to do is get real people in the commercial industry to be able to say their experience and basically make a lot of money off that, and pay you jack shit because you're not really an actor. The problem is that we've spent so much time being desperate that we're now in a situation where we go, well, what are we going to do? We need a job. Hey, I feel like Sally Fields. Take this job and shove
it. Yeah. Is this what they want us to be? They don't want bigger participants at their dinner table. This is why they kind of pushed us out of the industry and created a circle of elitarian industries around their core product, which is, of course, the box office. And now we can, if we, check out all boxes, if we're coming from this background, we have this health status, we have this subscription, this premium mode, only if we check out all boxes, they allow us to perform. And I want to show something here, because this is truly interesting. Like I said, we had the so-called C virus, of course, that impacted and destroyed the middle class, not only in entertainment industry, all over the place, basically in the whole of the United States. Then we got to the point where these movies are not making the money they used to in the 90s and at the beginning of the 2000s. We're going to have also some numbers here from the international box office. And then we had AI coming into the place and taking away more breadcrumbs from the table. Now what we see here is that basically we are now fighting also for fair wages behind the camera. We have here, IATSE, this is directly from the website, a Hollywood Basic Bargaining Update. Individual local negotiations with AMPTP begin. And here, following a caucus week, negotiations between the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees and the Alliance of Motion Picture Television Producers resumed Monday, with talks entering a new phase where each of the IATSE's 13 West Coast studio locals individually negotiate the locals' craft-specific issues with the studios, bada boom, bada bam, bada bam. And we are not even close to get to the point where we're satisfied with what they are proposing again. Nonetheless, they're throwing money out of the window with projects that are very politically driven and not giving any entertainment to the folks out there. A problem that we can see also at the box office happening, more and more theaters closing down. Hey, what's up, Ryan Roger? Thank you for stopping by. And I feel like, why are they continuously hitting on those that are making the biggest effort, are lending their faces, and are the biggest resource, along with the people that we consider the crew, that are the unsung heroes of every movie set. Don't you agree?
Two reasons. Number one is, and this is my opinion, and I also think I stand a chance here that I might be having a problem after this broadcast, because who never knows, and they may go, "Don't hire him again." But the fact of the matter thing, in regards to what you're talking about, is the best analogy I can put to you is that you have the war. All right. Now
All right.
that you have 500,000 troops. They're going to go in, and they're the frontline people, and they know damn well that they're going to wind up probably dying, because they're the frontline people. You don't pay them the most, and I say this right, but they may not be the most. I mean, they're not officers, so they're not highly educated, and so but they will do the job, because you're going to give them something. You're going to give them that breadcrumb to be able to allow them to get a college education afterwards, or you're going to take care of them and their family. And I'm just speaking about. Well, there isn't, in my opinion, much difference in the fact that what we're dealing with now is actors, because there are a lot more actors, and part of this, the blame of part of this whole equation right now, is based upon the fact that I'm on my iPhone, and you can shoot, and I've done and gotten awards for films I've shot on my iPhone. The fact is that now, because of technology, what's happened is that back in the day, if there were 100 films, okay, now there's 2,500 films, and quite honestly, more than half of those are independent filmmakers. And the problem with that is that we've saturated the market so much with any kind of film, whether it's good or bad, is that we now are looking at, it's really about, in my opinion, the big boys making their dollar, and the shareholders going, you know what, last year we made 14 billion, and this year we only made 13.5. What's up? And buy cheaper caviar now. The problem that, again, there's so much out there that and we have actors and IATSEs and people that want to be in this industry, but we've never ever really, I mean, we have SAG, which, by the way, SAG is supposed to, I was told, be getting into this whole, they kind of the casting networks type of people on the hand and said, you can't do this. Well, I don't know if that's worked. Hopefully they'll get in there again. But the fact is that they've made it more difficult for the lower hanging fruit to be able to work. And quite honestly, we've never really been able to band together and really make
True.
Now, at the strike, which, and I'm going to get in trouble for this statement, part of me believes that the strike that happened for SAG was a little bit of a mistake, and I'll tell you why. Because, and again, I may stand corrected, please tell me if I'm wrong, but after this happened, I started getting a lot of people saying to me, well, now there's a big problem, like industry, like producers saying, well, now there's a problem because they want more money for streaming and so on. The big streaming platforms are either folding, or there's less work because or they're raising the rates because they're not making the same money. Think about it. It's just economics, that if they have all these platforms, and the platforms are not getting people to stream, to buy their streaming, they're losing money. And if they have to pay the actors more money, they're losing more money. So what they do is, i.e., casting networks, same sort of thing, in my opinion, is they go, well, we're gonna have to raise our rate. We have to raise our rate, and we don't.
That's what
And SAG is there for collective bargaining, but non-union isn't. And a lot of the projects out there are non-union. And I say, hey, yeah, go union if you can. But the point is that the casting networks and all the others are there for anybody and everybody that has that dream to be an actor, to be an A-lister, to be with Brad Pitt and do a movie. And that's the problem, is they're dealing with desperate people, us, that just want the job, that want to be on set, have a good craft services.
I mean, the beauty of this job, of course, is that the crazy folks, the court jesters, the fools, right, from the tarot card hanging heads over in this world and perceiving the universe from a completely different perspective, can make such a great contribution. And that there is, of course, a structure and kind of, canalizing our energy. But for a lot of time, and now we've been, we've been carved out, right, from also drained and used, right? They need our talent, our effort, our improvisation skills, our instruments, our craft to entertain people. And they created a business around that channeling of force that has nothing to do with the perpetrator, the original perpetrator, us, but the source of things. And this is where I feel we haven't understood to defend ourselves when this whole business was growing, when the structures were made in the 70s after Hollywood once failed in the 60s. Let's remember that, right? Hollywood was at the bottom of things. It was like Warner Brothers shut down its complete lot. There was just the animation lot open. Everything else was closed down. They were shooting some reshoots for a Fred Astaire movie, and that was basically it. And then the Scorseses, the Bogdanovich, the Hoppers, the Coppolas, the Steven Spielbergs, and the Brian De Palmas came by and saved the day. And there, when the money rushed back in, when the deals were made again, like, they created an industry that had detached or over time completely kind of decapsulated from, like, the umbilical cord was cut. And now they just call us when they need us, then they throw us back in the cage. And if we want access, this is what it looks like on a polemical level. Of course, I'm maybe kind of exaggerating the tones here, but if you look at the industry, like we said, we're earning less money. We have to make more effort in order to be seen. We are spending way more energy in networking and producing. We need to be ahead of the curve with social media. On one hand, the industry could also argue, again, devil's advocate, and say, hey, this is how you keep young and fresh. This is how you keep your skills on. But on the other hand, I would also argue, hey, it's also sometimes not bad to stay in bed and to enjoy your wife, your partner, and just have a great time, and not we always necessary, or just stay and kind of fix something about the house, or just having a couple of days where you don't do anything, but you are forced almost to kind of get up every day and do something. Otherwise, the industry will completely leave you behind. And this is where we have come to this disparity. Also, what we see here, if we analyze this article really quick, the Performing Artists and Tax Parity Act. Yes, that's nice. It's working class musicians, stage managers, singers, dancers, actors, stagehands, and other art workers across the country return to work. The last thing they need is a tax code that punishes them for seeking work, right? The Performing Artists Tax Parity Act fixes this problem. Let's see, let's hope what kind of terms we will go through. This is definitely like one timid, step into the right direction, but I don't feel that is like enough to save the industry and to save the workers. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I first of all, if you're an actor in this day and age, that again, I say my statement about show business has business in it, and more business than it does show. You really should try to. I also recommend that you become an LLC, or that type of. You know what? That's what the big boys are doing, and then you right off the air, you breathe, and and at the end of the year, you get to be like all the other big corporations in some way. But my one thing I want to say, and I want to make this statement very clear, because if someone pulls out a soundbite from this and makes me seem like I'm the next Antichrist, I want to be
Don't worry.
I want to be very clear about my statement. I'm a businessman, okay? I've been doing business for a long time. And I have a magic shop. I now have ghost tours, and I had Mechanical Bull Company, and I've had different things. And I'm not going to lie to you. If I had a thing like the networks where I could sit at home on my laptop, which I did with my other companies, and be able to outside. This is the beauty of the internet, okay? I used to say this in the 90s. I used to say, how you're right now in your brick and mortar and you're looking at your people coming in the shop? I go, yeah. I go, when you're online, that's all gone. You can market and be with anybody. Now they've utilized this, be able to do that. I want to make this clear. I am a business person, and I am not against capitalizing or capitalization. What I'm
Of
saying is,
course not.
I think that what they've done now is they've squeezed too hard and they're asking for too much, and we get very little in return. And here's the thing. The thing is that, and a friend of mine, a very awesome director, I'm not going to say her name, but she said something that was brilliant, which is it should be a nonprofit organization. And
In
I
a way,
hate
yes.
it
Yeah.
won't be much money, as much money, but not $30 million a year. But the idea to find work for the industry artist,
Hmm.
IATSE, and union and non-union actors to be able to do this really should be in a situation where it's really just a job service that we go here. Because if I'm out there and I know that I'm one of 2,000 people submitting something, is it really fair to continuously ask me for $30 a month plus to upload $25 a minute, plus the pictures cost you $10, plus what the is going on? We need to take a little more control of this. And the problem is, I hate to say this, but actors, you got to stop acting like sheep, because if you continue to
Yes, absolutely.
you're gonna
Yeah,
get
because like I said, they educated us to be just already
lucky.
happy about yeah.
They educated us to be, oh, you're happy and lucky if you get in our production. And
Yeah,
you know what?
yeah,
In some ways, they're right, because the competition is so big now that the
true.
fact I'm succeeding in my demographic at this point is amazing, because it goes with how you look, who you are, how
Sure.
young you are, what you do. We've got social, we've got ambassadors and influencers. It's so
And
inundated that the
yes,
process is so difficult that you really got to have a pretty tough skin. And so
again,
my
it's about absolutely again, like I said, it's about finding the right swing for the pendulum. I'm
yeah,
not saying that the necessity to be competitive, to produce material and to stay updated, like you are the best example, sir. The first time I met you, I remember like we've been down to San Diego to the comedy club there. I saw you performing, handling the crowd, and at the same time, you being old school, you're on YouTube, you're on Instagram. We shot amazing videos. You are all over the place, man. You are a renaissance man of like many talents. But nonetheless, you stay updated because it's you. You have that curiosity. You're a magician. You sneak into cracks. This is your personality, and not everybody has that. So in a way, the way the system works, it kind of facilitates or it enforces even the lazy ones to kind of do something more about their lives, which in a way is also a positive side effect. But the
well,
thing is,
out of
sure,
sight,
sure, sure.
out of sight, out of mind has always been the industry motto, in my opinion. When you were back in
Yes.
the you had black and white photos. You'd go to your agent. There was no internet. There was faxing. Go there, had a wall. They'd sit behind their desk and have a wall, and they had all the
Right.
actors on their wall, and they could go, bah, bah, bah. If you were here, you probably didn't get calls a lot. If you were here,
Yeah.
you got. It's like merchandising at Walmart. The reason why you walk by and you go
Yes.
out and you look and you see Cocoa Krispies or whatever is because they paid for that POV. They paid for that point of interest right there. Point is that I don't think what they're doing is bad. It's a service for the actors. It's just that they're hitting the pocketbooks of the people that have nothing in their pockets. Based
And if they would,
on
yeah,
passion, they're hitting our
yeah,
passion, and they're hitting us and saying, well, we know you want to do this, so pay up, dude.
yeah, yeah. And yeah. Again, like what we're seeing here, let's take if we take a look at the numbers, right? Let's, they speak a clear language that can't be, this is not an opinion or anything. This is the numbers. And this is, look at the indie movies. So a movie with a cost, this is the numbers website here, official website. So if you look at the indie movies, so movies with the lowest budget that made at least $1 million at the box office, right?
Yeah.
So we're still here at 1993. El Mariachi, famously with a $7,000 budget that made more than $1 million. The next one is Skin Maring. Let's leave that apart because it's 2023. Otherwise, all the movies, it's 1991, 1972, 1997, 1994, Clerks, Brothers McMullins, 95, Gabriella is 2001, Super Size Me, that's an own self-destructive documentary, super fun to watch. Okay, that was 2024. This is The Wretch, 2020. Otherwise, they're all been shot. Most of them been shot way before 2000.
Yeah.
So the indie industry where we had access to, where still movies could be made with $23,000, like Slackers or Deep Throat, beautiful 72 with $25,000, right? And where you still had access. Look at this. Deep Throat made $45 million in 1972 with a production cost of $25,000.
Wow.
Where are those pictures? They completely disappeared. There is no yes, there is an indie industry, but of course now it's chained to the festivals, which of course, again, swimming back and forth has some good aspects and bad aspects.
Yeah, my good friend Sal from in New York area has a company called oprime.tv, oprime.tv, and he a person that I used to do Film Festival Live. I've had you on it, and
right.
And Sal, it markets what is it, 8 to 10,000 film festivals around the world, and I'm here, and he told me, he goes, every month there's probably 100 more. Film festival shooting through a donut hole, film festival shooting underwear, shooting on a phone, shooting on your kid's preschool. Anyway, point is that yes, there is the opportunity. I shot Signal, the one I got 2 Best Actor awards, 25 awards when I was in Brazil, with Diogo Morgado. And we shot it on an iPhone 5S. The opportunity to be able to create your own content, which, by the way, is the other thing. This industry has now become less about the big boys. I mean, they still do the blockbusters, but they're scared because the Deep Throats can do, you can shoot a film on your phone and not pay much at all. It's a matter of how tenacious and how, if you can get a distributor. I know Michael Pfeiffer, he's an awesome director, and he's got an awesome product where, for $195,000 or something like that, they put together, do everything, they shoot it, they script it.
Sure.
Blah, blah, blah. Point I'm trying to make is that the quality of film has vastly changed since Blair Witch. Because when I was when I was at Fox Kids, CBS as a feature reporter, I saw that film come out in whenever Blair Witch came out, and I was at the station and I went, uh-oh. And everybody's like, what's wrong? I go, everything's changed now. And they go, what do you mean? I go, they shot that blah, blah, and they're running a piece of shit camera. Because what's happened now, because of the industry, and now even more because of AI, if you don't know this, that you don't even need to get up out of bed anymore.
Yeah.
But the problem now with actors is if you don't have that creative thread and are able to, be behind the scenes, shoot your own stuff and continuously do it and have the skin of an armadillo, then you're unfortunately not going to probably succeed. You're just going to be frustrated. But in regards to this casting networks thing, I think the important thing here is to maybe find a way of getting to them and saying, we won't deal with this anymore, and you can't keep squeezing every dime out of us, $5 more. I mean, I would be curious if you did a search on how many people are actually members of casting network.
Yeah, and plus, like, we have $259 for casting network. Then we have, what is it, Actors Access in a year?
Actors Access. Okay, so I want to clarify something, okay? In case you don't know this, there is Actors Access, which is TV and film. That's your theatrical outlet, okay? Rarely something on Actors Access that's a commercial. Sometimes you do, but most likely you don't. I may be wrong on that, but that's what I see on there. And that's what mostly. And by the way, breakdown services is directly connected with that. We can't
Hmm.
get services. The agents and the managers and the casting directors get those with a fee of, I don't know, several $100s a month to be able to get the things saying that Westworld or what TV series or
Right.
movie out there, Oppenheimer, that's only for them. And it's illegal if an actor gets into breakdowns and gets through there. That it's illegal. Now,
Interesting.
spin-off of that for the actor is they are listed on Actors Access, and that's
Yeah.
theatrical. Casting networks is commercials. Now, about 4 or 5 years ago, I think Fox made a deal with casting networks because they weren't happy with another place called Casted Talent or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, they started putting some TV and film on there. So every once in a while, you'll see you'll see
Hmm.
projects on casting networks. But we know as my commercial agent will get me stuff and it'll come through casting networks. My theatrical agent will get me stuff. It's Actors Access. That's the way it works. Now, there's also Backstage, which originally, if you're an old school actor, you remember Backstage as Backstage West and Backstage
Yeah.
East, and that was
Yes.
Coast. And it was created in the 60s. Now they've recently been taken over by Mandy, which is in Europe, and some conglomerate bullshit thing. And they put out like a lot of independent stuff, commercials. They do a little bit of everything, but they're the ones you see on Instagram or TikTok saying, they're looking to cast this movie and you can make $2,000 a day. And it's bullshit because all
It's
you're doing,
crazy.
it's the all casting, kids casting model where you're getting people that have never done anything, that don't know what a real headshot is, that will most likely never ever make it in an audition. Your backstage is now just this like hoard out thing where they just keep going, you're going to make $2,000 a day. And you're not. And they get
The
people.
crazy thing,
What?
it's like in the beginning, all these networks, all these casting platforms, they started, like I said, with not even like a bad thought. Like there was a low fee, you had access to many people, and it wasn't overloaded, it wasn't inflationary, and so people sometimes could really book some stuff through there, or at least have some exposure in doing some networks. It was like a okay procedure, and you felt you were not completely alone, especially if we're living outside of.
The
But
area.
the
Yeah,
thing
but you know what?
is, yeah,
And with all due respect, I just want to say that all of these,
sure,
you can get work backstage. Absolutely. I've gotten
sure,
several off that. I just don't want to.
yeah,
I mean, I figured, by the way, financially, that at the end of the year, I stopped getting those 2, 3 years ago because I didn't want the low hanging fruit stuff because I felt my career was getting higher. But
hmm,
that, I got a lot of films and TV that I did on that thing, but I did the numbers with casting networks, Actors Access, Backstage, Casting Frontier, Casted Talent, and I was paying over $1,200 a year. This is
exactly. I was trying to do the math, right? You do 259 for casting networks, the $30 a year for Actors Access. For Spotlight, you have $129 a year. It's like $35 to get the premium upload with the 4K with the best. Hey guys, I mean, it's like what you want from me? You want me to be an industry before I even get into the industry, or do you want to help me to promote my product to get into that business?
And so, yes. And so, Coach, I would say the problem herein lies that actors have become, they are basically, they're not leaders in most cases. They are being
Right.
sheep. And they're saying, all I really want to do is be famous. What's it going to take? Because I get, and I know you do, I get a tremendous amount of direct messages going, hey, Will, can you put me in your next film? I'm like,
Sure.
I'm trying to get my, and I go, do you have a headshot? Do you have a demo reel? No, but I would love to do it though. Okay. So
Yeah.
they're just simply preying off the fact that people want to be famous. And it's like this analogy. My parents, hate to say it, I grew up in the south side of Chicago. I grew up with
Nice.
them, lottery tickets and cigarettes. Do you know why my parents did that? Because they were white trash. And the fact is that they felt the lottery ticket was going to make them rich like the rich people. And the cigarettes got
Mm,
stressed out about the fact that they didn't have any money. My point being is that
mm.
kind of running in the same sort of circle, we're desperate to be able to get the attention of the industry so we too can attend the Academy Awards. And the problem now is that they've realized that that's a great product. They're selling us water and it's from the tap, not from the spring. And we're going, I'll pay $25 a bottle because your bottle's beautiful. That's our problem.
Oh, yes. Look at this bottle. Oh, it's a unique piece of art. It's like, guys, pay me for my art instead of paying me for a bottle. That's the problem. Yes, like I said, the system pushed us out of the industry and created an elitarian ring. It seems like because it's getting harder and harder. And the argument I feel that I have taken in the beginning of the show, because we wanted to be fair, we wanted to see where the pendulum could swing. I said, let me play devil's advocate. Isn't it fair if you provide a service to ask money for it? But if you lack transparency, and if the end product that we're seeing, like, let's, if we look at the numbers, again, we are making ridiculous numbers compared to the 90s. We're making more money, but we have less views because it's inflationary. This is adjusted to inflation. So we're paying more for the ticket. We're paying more for the popcorn. We're paying more for the Coke. We're paying more for the feature that has decreased in its quality. And now, if you look at just the production value of movies, like, look at this. So we have Avatar, that is still the number one movie. This is from the 2022 production. The production budget was $460 million
Wow.
for one movie.
Wow.
And domestically, it only made 684.
Wow.
So it was lucky with an immense marketing budget that is, until now, they didn't disclose what the marketing budget was. Probably the production budget doesn't reflect the whole marketing budget in the whole world. So yes, they made $2.3 billion, but they almost invested $500 million into a movie.
Christopher Nolan spent $100 million in Oppenheimer. He definitely has, he almost reached the 1 billion. I think in the theaters he probably.
Yes.
But
let's take a look. I think we have it here.
I mean, that Christopher Nolan really, in regards to this whole equation, he, from what I've read, really doesn't like streaming because you can't get the same thing, which is true. You can't really. People go, I saw Oppenheimer on my TV, and I'm like, well, not quite the same thing. But it just isn't, from a sound quality, from a vision quality. And he's like, I just want to make the movies that are going into big theaters because that's the experience that people need. Also, because of COVID, now, the problem is that we've made a society that's kind of lazy. All we want, we're all hooked, as I say, we're hooked on iPhonics. And all we want to do is go like this and go blah, 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 blah. And, it doesn't matter if it's teeny weeny. It just makes us laugh and we want to be liked. So everybody wants to do their own Instagram and TikTok. In regard, and that's one of the, by the way, that's one of the downfalls, I think, of actors nowadays is we spend a little too much time on social when it doesn't really matter. I mean, I've gotten some jobs on social media overseas in films and TV, and I've met some great people, but I've never put all my eggs in that basket because, it's a tool for researching and a way of telling people, hey, this is kind of fun. I was doing this. But people in the industry, from what I gather, casting directors and agents and so on, they're not like scouring the internet going, scouring social media going, that's the next Brad Pitt. They're just not. So spend more of your time working on your show business stuff, your reels, learn how to shoot, learn how to edit. Bottom line is that I'm honestly telling you, Coach, that I think the only way around this equation is that you find a workaround that you can get that will help you as an actor. Let me give you one example. And again, I'm going to say, I don't think that the casting networks and any other people are doing anything fundamentally wrong. They're just capitalist, and I get it. It's just the overbearing, keep asking for more thing from people who don't make money to begin with is the problem. But I'm going to tell you. So 2 years ago ish, maybe even longer, I said, you know
Right.
what? I'm tired of paying all this money for these things, because every day I'd get up and I'd go, ooh, I get an email. Ooh, what are they? And I'd submit. And you know what? I did all the matrix and laid it all out. And I got to tell you something. I've got a lot of skills and I've got a lot of shit behind my,
Oh, yes.
I'm submitting for these things. And I have to tell you something. I would say maybe less than 10% of the time I would actually get an audition from doing casting networks or access. And here's the funny thing is 10 minutes later, I'd get an email from my agent going, you have an audition. I'm like, God damn it. I just submitted for that. Why is it? Because they want to go through the agent. So those low hanging fruit jobs on those, I went, forget it. And I came up with this idea, and I'm giving away one of my trade secrets. And remember this, this is ballsy, but what I did was, you see, we get the emails all the time saying commercial, film, TV, TV. We get them in our emails all the time. You click on it and it shows you. And then when you click it, if you're not a member, it goes, oh, but you can't see that unless you're a member. But
Yes.
Here's the key. What you can see is it goes casting director. So I get, in my opinion, the best thing you can spend your money on, and I make no money off this, is IMDb Pro. Because I did was I took the casting director's name, I took the project, I looked in it, I scanned through it when you have IMDb Pro, and I found the casting director, I found .com casting director, and I created a small letter that said, I know I'm not supposed to do this. I've been working in the industry, very short letter. All I really want to do is see if there's a way, because I don't pay for those services. Do you mind if I audition? More than 85% of the time, they come back to me and say, sure, go for it. Now, here's why that's good. Here's why that's good. If you don't know this as an actor, when you submit yourself for an audition, they look at their computer screen, and what they see is, let's say I'm auditioning for 1883, John Papsodero. You'd never see the breakdowns, but let's say that you are auditioning for it. You submit yourself, and what they get for that role is they get a whole screen full of thumbnails. Another little tip for you. If your thumbnail looks like this and doesn't look like this, you're kind of stupid, because when they're sitting there looking at a teeny little,
that's a nice tip.
They're going to see this and not this, because if they see this, they're going to go, forget it, because they're looking, coach, at 25 screens. Same people, all blonde, middle-aged, blah, 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 blah. What's going to make you stand out? Well, one thing is get your face closer. Number two is, I basically, by doing the method I just told you, I'm going from that screen, if they give me an audition, to their email, because they're going to specifically say, yeah, just we transfer it. So I'm not going to sit here in the pig pen, pig pile, and go, oh, I hope they see me. I go right to their email, which is amazing.
Dun, dun, dun. We got the party going. Oh man, that was beautifully, man. Like, thank you. That was a fantastic effect. That was like, wow, the computer reacting to this. Your movie, as I can see here, did pretty well. Scratched a billion, or even surpassed a billion. You were in $1 billion movie, sir. Domestic box office, $329 million. International box office was 635. So we have like $964 million.
Yeah, plus now it's going to Japan and blah 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 blah. Give me one, I'm gonna get some. You talk.
Yeah, no, because that's perfect. Thank you. Because Pat was saying something quite interesting here. He is like, he's not disagreeing with the shorter attention spans, but I think marketing had a hand in pushing the idea that we don't have attention span anymore, right? And so make quality entertainment and people will sit down. I agree with that. I agree with that. Like, this is sort of a dog biting its own tail, right? If you don't make better quality entertainment, people will not develop that better attention span, because there's nothing that is really catching and hooking about the story. If you create great characters that have a psychological meaning and they trigger your subconscious and your imagination, whether you are a kid that comes just off TikTok or you're like more of an educated moviegoer, you still would pay attention to the performance, because somehow you realize, whether actively or subconsciously, that there is something great about this going on, right? So attention span also comes from producing better quality material. But what Will was addressing, I think, a bit more like regarding about what he was saying, is that the problem is that we are throwing more and more content out every day, that we're producing more and more noise, so it's harder to keep track of the real good signal of the message that is valid.
Yeah, the market is oversaturated. That's why my friend Sal has a business for 8 to 10,000 film festivals. Film festivals. That's film festivals. So
that's crazy. That's absolutely nuts.
That means hundreds of people are in each film festival. That makes millions of film creators, which is a wonderful thing, because it's put us into a status where, really, as an actor, I'm going to tell you, there's never been a better time. Never been a better time, because now I have more control over whether or not I am getting out there. Here's one other thing that many people don't get about why it's important to produce your own shit. Here's why. When I get a script, and I'm looking at this script that I get, here's one, and sides. I look at this, and they go, we saw your picture, we saw your reel. You fit what we want and we wrote, but do they really get the best of me? Well, maybe, but if I produce my own thing and I know I'm a weapons expert and I'm funny or whatever, I write, I shoot it, I make myself look brilliant, because I'm going with my best assets. When you go audition for someone else's shit, you're basically hoping you fit in their mold. And the director will go, yeah, do this or do that or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying that if you don't shoot, edit, market, do all that, if you're a one-trick pony and you're like, I'm an actor, I'll be in my room, my dressing room waiting for my red M&Ms, you probably work at Starbucks.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel what you're saying. Like, to a certain degree, we also have to gear up and become more self-aware of our talents, and not just the industry dictate us how we have to function on a daily basis, because we can create content for ourselves. We are the storytellers here, and if we like to reach our goals, we can do that also for a long time without being necessarily dependable on the system, just by creating your own threshold and your own legacy, like you have done, right? You've created so much. You created that critical mass. You've appeared and popped out, and you were recognizable, and so therefore you created that substantial, critical mass. Overnight success, takes a couple of years in the making, right?
I've been doing this for 40 years, brother.
I know, brother. I know. I don't want to demotivate the creative community. I don't want to discourage you guys. I mean, look at this guy. He obviously had fun, right?
I'm going to be honest with you, and that's the thing people all the time. Like my daughter, I have a 10 and a 13-year-old boy. I have a 10-year-old boy, 13-year-old daughter. My daughter came out to me a year or two ago, and she goes, "Dad, I think I'm going to be an actor." And I'm like, what advice would you give me? I'm like, don't. Because let me just say you folks out there, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat this at all, because the reality is that it is the worst career in the world to do.
Yes.
And the reason why most actors are not stable. I'm one of them.
No, I'm not stable for sure.
When I leave here, I'm going to call up my therapist and whatever. Point is,
call my wife.
But because we wear our heart on our sleeve. And the fact of the matter is that if you are not willing to work your ass off, and I have to say this because I used to hear this a lot of time in my beginning of my career, people would go, I'm moving to LA, I'm giving it 10 years. And they go, what about you? And I go, I'm going to give it my life, and I'm going to give it my God. And to this day, I will say this to everybody, that I work my ass off every day. I don't wait for shit to come to me. I go find it. If I don't have it, I create it. And let me show you something that no one has seen yet, I've seen yet, Coach, that I'm very excited to show on your show first.
All right. What? Let me put the, no, again. Oh man, that looks amazing. That's good. And yet here we are, right? They issue a little foil, a little paper, and we're proud of that. But it's true. Let's look at us. Like, we are fools. We're crazy people. Yeah, you give us that satisfaction.
Hey, look, we're the actors of the original social media. All we need is this. Good job.
Good job.
I don't even need to eat. I don't even need to eat. Just good scene, man. God, cool. I'll be back tomorrow. It's kind of like what Ben Hogan said about golf. Ben Hogan had 18 holes, probably 100 shots in a game. All you got to do is get that one shot and hit it in the hole, and you'll be back tomorrow. All those other things that you do every day. That's why I talk about every day. I seed something. I do something. And the fact of the matter is that if you're looking out your window and going, God damn it, why isn't that growing yet? Then you're in the wrong business, because it takes all this time to keep doing this. But you have to ultimately, the thing I'll end with is, if you don't have to do this, you shouldn't do it. If you wake up every day at 3:30 in the morning and go, I got to do this. I want to do this. I'm so excited. And you've been doing it for as long as I am, you should do it. If you don't, please go into real estate. Do something else. Find out your other passion. If you have to do it, you do it. And you end up with rewards. All I'm saying.
That is the famous mic drop. I can't dislocate this one, otherwise it takes a while. But that was a beautiful mic drop, and I feel like this is also a testament to our story over here at the COACHMC studio. You couldn't express this. I couldn't express this in better words myself, and I had to describe our mission here at the COACHMC studio, because this is what we're standing for. At the end of the day, like Billy Wilder always liked to say, actors are those unique type of breed. And these people that fall down on the ground, they stand up again, they brush off the dust their shoulders, and they look better than before. This is our capability. None the matter, you give us whatever C virus, you give us political insecurity and destabilization, you give us not enough compensation, we have to fight over our residuals, you're cutting off our wage by getting access to the industry, by raising fees for just being found. I mean, all this stuff in the end doesn't matter. If someone pats us on the back and says, hey, you've done a great job, this is what you're actually here for. But what Will is also saying, and what I'm completely subscribing to as well, is our ability, yes, to produce that type of emotion is beautiful, but we shouldn't neglect the business side. It's show business, right? Show is good. Show. Yes, of course we show. But afterwards, we want some structure in place, whether that's a great agent that supports you. But also you need to get educated on these matters. Like stuff we're doing over here. Come to the COACHMC studio, visit our networks, and get informed on the latest updates on what's happening. Also for yourself, do the research, like what type of style am I playing? Where should I head with this career? What are the conditions in this type of career? What are they asking from me? How can I be prepared for all these things, right? Make sure that you're not too much peaky blinders on, because the blinders, yes, they help you focus, but sometimes you need a broader visual array. You need to kind of perceive a holistic view on the industry, not just with your love goggles on. Oh yes, I'm an artist now. It's also a business, and therefore it needs to be taken care of. Otherwise someone else will take care of it for you, and he will not make you profit more, right? You have to fight for that. You have to make sure to stand in.
I want to say one thing about you, Coach, and the takeaway, in my opinion, as a professional actor of all the years I've done, is that there's a really good casting director and a kind of a coach in Arizona, Faith Clark Hibbs or something. She just came out with an audition tracker, which they used to be one that you could get when Samuel French had a store, which is where we got our scripts a lot of time in theater. But she has one of those, and I just tell you that it is so important for you to track and do what you're doing. I don't know. I'm not endorsing her because I don't like
Mhm.
have money. But the other thing is what you do. You really have to find your team and in doing this, because you can't do it alone. Because here's the problem with actors. Everybody does, but actors have even a
Yeah,
louder
especially.
critical voice. And you need people like you, coach, that will, don't call me. I'm not going to coach you. But unless we do something together, coach. Point is
Yeah,
that
okay. We can talk about that.
I think you need to come to people and try to get through the learning curve faster as an actor, because it's so difficult to do and it's so changing all the time that if you try
Hmm.
alone and you think you know what you're doing and you spend your time on Google just trying to get the answers, I promise you, you're going to wind up going down a lot of bad rabbit holes and getting the bad information.
Oh,
The
yeah.
last thing we'll say is that um, it is so crucial for you to continue to try to work on the business parts of it and put everything all this together. But here's the thing that I want you to take away from today and what I'm saying, and that is this: if you come upon a stumbling block, you need to get a chainsaw and make it into a sculpture. If you get into something where you've got a wall in front of you, put a picture on it and find a door. And if there isn't one, make it. The problem we have in our industry, in our world in general, and you deal with motivation all the time, is that we let that get us down and we don't realize the lesson. What's the lesson for this one? I say to you, if you're sitting here going, I can't freaking afford to pay more money for this,
Absolutely.
then I told you a workaround. Don't buy the service. Try to go on and find something. Get an agent. Be aggressive. Make your own content. Get into a situation where you become a commodity that is something that they want. So,
No,
with that,
absolutely.
don't take the negative stuff and go, well, I'm done. What am
Oh,
I?
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely that. It's your own mental attitude. It's your own self-awareness and how you want to perceive this. I always say this, like there are just two emotions. We have 16 million emotions, but they're actually based on two primordial emotions. There is love and there is fear. How do you want to tackle the problem at hand? With love, coming from a place of generosity.
Or let it tackle
Sure.
you. Or let it tackle.
Yes, yes.
I was doing this. I said, you got to go with here. I'm going to point this way. Sorry. In my opinion, and I am endorsing this, and I've got a couple of credits and telling you that the fact that you're doing this all the time, Coach MC, you're all
Oh yeah.
808s. Point is that the fact that you're doing this all the time, the fact that you are passionate, the fact that you're not just single focused, like your acting's you talk about the business. I'm endorsing this right now and saying, if you need to get your shit together, you need to get on Coach's team, because he'll help you do that and get those
Thank you,
people.
brother.
Because if you don't have a team, you are the I in team, which is meaning that you spell wrong. Point is,
Shall we? I want to leave us here with this beautiful comment. Feels good to know you are where you need to be at that moment of time. A piece of paper or pat on the back goes a long way for what little it costs. Absolutely agree, right? This is what we're talking about. In the end, if we have to distill this talk, is bring your most necessary and effective endeavor and effort every day to improve on your skill set, and you will attract possibilities, opportunities, and great challenges in your life. Will be always positive immediately, and will they turn always out to be immediate incredible successes? Of course not. Sometimes it's a false door, it's a trap, sometimes it's a boulder that you need to tackle. But like Will said, sometimes these challenges, these perils, these dangers, they actually kind of force to produce better content content to bring out the best version of ourselves, to come up with solutions, and that will actually make us better. That will reinforce our toolbox. That will build our craft and ultimately our confidence. And if you need confidence, if you want that, then you have to work on those challenging moments, on those inconsistencies, because let me tell you, and Will can certainly subscribe to that as well, confidence is the key here. If you're positive and confident.
I was just going to tell you that if you want the key ingredient, just add water to be able to be a successful performer, or in general, manifestation. You know that when you're tripping out and you're stressed out, you're like, oh, why can't I? Why can't I? You continue to get a vibration. And I don't want to sound wooey, but the fact is that when you're all high, you're like, yeah, this is not really high. But I mean, like, you're,
no.
The point is that more things come to you. Good things come to those who wait, but you got to make sure that you're not inundating yourself with negative stuff.
Right. And waiting to,
that the reason why, and I told this people all the time, is that when I got Oppenheimer, and of course Christopher Nolan looked at my stuff. I'm in the trailer, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, oh my God, this is really great. And I realized something, that the reason why you climb up the level in acting and you get better opportunities is not necessarily that you're more talented as you get more business. It's that you do things and you become confident. Like, I know I'm good. I'm not being braggadocious. I'm being realistic. But here's the thing. You don't think that the key component that a casting director, and producer are looking for when they're looking at your tape is confidence. You're misguided, because they want to look at you and go, he's commanding. She knows what they're doing. They deliver it, because here's what they don't want. They don't want you to get in the room like I was, Matt Damon, Cillian Murphy, Josh Hartnett, Matthew Modine, James Remar, bunch of other actors, and they don't want you to do this. Oh, I don't know what I'm sorry.
This is just
$100 million film. So when you gain that confidence, whatever it takes you to do, if you gain that confidence, keep that thing right here on your chest and keep it. And if you think you're just being braggadocious, then the people that think that are the ones that wanted, but they couldn't.
Exactly. Should we leave them with a nice beatbox?
It's all doing the old Western Ponderosa.
Well, it was a pleasure. I could talk with you for days and hours, and we should do that, man. Like, come over to Miami. Let's record a show here. Let's do something. Let's go on stage and let's have a
Miami.
In Miami.
Country around the world, and I remember going to Miami a few times and going, wow.
This is real. Yeah, this town is the real deal right now. Thank you, Will. It was fantastic talking to you. We found, I think, also a humoristic closure to all these negative news. Let's call them what they are. But also, we found also a brink of light in this, and I think a crack in the wall where, like you said, let's build better entertainment. Let's build a better craft for all. Let's deepen our personality, because it's just a matter of the time. It's not depending on Hollywood if we have success in our private life. It's not depending on Warner Brothers, on Paramount Pictures, on TriStar, whatever producers, on Oppenheimer, on Christopher Nolan. No, it's depending on us. So it's always us that we need to make the effort. Right now, the outlook, the environment, the echo chamber itself doesn't look that well and that positive. But let me tell you another thing. Empires usually are being built and born when there's blood on the street. When there's blood on the street, when there's crisis and uncertainty, when there's insecurity and uncertainty about the future, this is when you should position yourself. Don't don't get fooled by the noise again. Don't get distracted. Don't throw yourself in the crowd and scream and cry all the time and lose your compass attention for what's really, really, really worth like your time and what's really necessary and what's really important in your life. Build your empire when everybody else is crying, and then you will enjoy when everybody else has no orientation, because you then know what to do.
Yeah, this is definitely the lemonade moment, lemons into lemonade, because, you know, there's a lot you can say that's negative, but, you know, think about yourself and, you know, your family, and go after it and get it. By the way, I go to Greece in 2 weeks to shoot a film for a week, and then I go to Arizona. I just got cast in a big feature film as one of the as a lead.
Fantastic, man. Congrats.
But when we're, yeah, but I didn't say that, but I said it because if we get a chance, we should do something live on set or something kind of.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. Let's stay definitely in touch. Let's thank the chat really quick. Thanks so much, Pat, for stopping by. Rosita Macaron, Sylvia, hail to Hypnotic, to Casey, to Cage, everybody stopped by. Thank you so much for Sharon, also for leaving that beautiful comment. Thanks to the Instagram, to the Facebook crowd. Catch me next Tuesday with Open Class Doodle, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can always catch me every Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday Night Hypnosis on the Hypnotics YouTube channel, where we trash bad entertainment and provide you with some great fun and some great news. Catch Will and Oppenheimer and on his social media networks as well. Great work. He killed it in a movie. I'm so proud of him, and I'm wishing you, of course, all the freaking best for your endeavors. We will definitely stay in touch. Keep you updated, creative community, actors, performers, entertainers out there, about the upcoming strike, about the latest developments in Hollywood and what we should do with our talents. Thank you so much, people, for stopping by. It was an awesome show. Thanks for all the comments and all the likes. See you next time. Now you're ready to perform. Thank you.